In times of economic uncertainty, what are things that you as a federal employee can do next time there is a recession, next time there are tariffs talking, trade wars, or the next pandemic, or you name it? There's always something. Next time there is some sort of calamity, some sort of uncertainty, what are the things that you as a federal employee can do to make sure you are prepared? That you can ride through it, you can get through it, and make sure you are prepared. And there's certain things you can do while working, while an active federal employee that you can do, and there's things in retirement that you can do to make sure you can ride through any of these crazy waves. So let's talk about it. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Dallin Haas. I'm a financial planner who helps with this stuff, help federal employees retire all the time, and I love it. So let's talk about it. The biggest and most important thing that you can do to get through any uncertainty, to get through any craziness, is do not sell. Do not sell. Now, what am I talking about when I say don't sell? Well, there's lots of ways you can sell in a down market. Let me explain. If we're talking TSP, selling might mean move from the C fund to the G fund. The G fund is very conservative. The C fund, not so much, right? The C fund is in stocks. The G fund is in bonds. It's super, super conservative. So if there's craziness going on, the market's going crazy, and you move from the C fund to the G fund, that is selling. That is moving money. Let's say this is the market, boom, 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 boom. And let's say we're down here right now. If you move when the market is down, if you move your money to the G fund, that is selling when the market is down. We don't want to do that. Let me use an example of your house really quick to make this sink into your brain. Let's imagine another 2008 happens and your house was worth $500,000. Now it's worth $350,000. So it's way down. Is now the time to start selling stuff? Just in case it might go lower? No, that's not the time. That is not the time. It's time to ride it out. You got to let that thing recover. You have to ride it out. Okay? Now, some people might think, well, what if I know? What if I can sense when the next thing is on? But what if I knew, hey, I know when the next tariffs are going to be announced, or I know when the next pandemic's going to, what if I got the sense, right? And I could time it, and I can get out right before the market goes down, right? Let's say, well, there's a couple things I'd say that. Number one, the odds of you being right are very slim. And you actually have to be right 2 times to make any money at all. And this is how it works. Basically, let's say this is the market. First, you have to be right in the fact that you know exactly when the market's going to go down, and you got to know exactly when the market is going to recover. You got to know both of those things to actually make any money by doing this right. Okay? You got to know when the market is at its lowest and when it's at its highest, and those things, by the way, are impossible to know. You're completely guessing. Now, I've seen some people get exceptionally lucky, and they get it. But to do that correctly, time and time again throughout your retirement is so unlikely. The pros just don't do it consistently. And so please, please, please don't try. Because this is often what happens. What people don't realize is that if they leave the market, if they get out of the market, they get out of things like the C fund, S fund, etc. They get out. The market often recovers very quickly when it does. So when it pops back up, that might all happen within a day or two. If you happen not to be in the market and when that pops up, then, of course, you won't get the growth that comes with it. So please, 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 do not sell. When there's craziness in the air, stick to your plan. Stick to it. Now, hopefully you have an investment plan that you're sticking to. If you don't have an investment plan, that's a problem, and that's probably why you're so worried. You got to have an investment plan. I've got whole videos on having investment plans in retirement, so go check those out. But another question that comes up a lot is, okay, well, that's all fine and good if I'm still working. If I'm still putting money into the TSP, well, it's simple. It's simple, right? I don't have to touch it. I don't need it soon, so I just won't touch it. But what if I'm retired? What if I want to take withdrawals to keep living my life, to supplement my life, so to do the things I want to do in retirement? I'm taking withdrawals, so I kind of have to sell, don't I? Well, not necessarily. Let me explain. So let's say half of your money is in something like the G fund, and half your money is something like the C fund. So you got G and C. Again, the G is very stable, right? It doesn't grow much, but it's not going to fluctuate much. The C is going to fluctuate more over time, but it's probably going to grow more over time. when the market is down, when the market's having a hard time, and you want to keep living your lifestyle in retirement, keep doing your thing, what can we do about this? Well, in an ideal world, we would pull just from the G. Let's say you still want to take your withdrawal, you still want to take it, but you want to just take it straight from the G. Now, here's a wrinkle in that. First and foremost, the TSP doesn't allow you to pick which funds you're withdrawing from directly. Meaning, if you have 50-50 between G and C, then when you take withdrawal, they're going to pull it out proportional based on how you're invested. Which, again, we don't want that. We don't want to sell when the market is down. So what can we do? Well, there's two ways to fix this. Two ways. Number one, if you move to an IRA. Now, I've got tons of videos about IRAs versus TSP. There's lots of pros and cons. But in an IRA, you have complete control over what you sell. So you're never forced to sell your long-term investments when the market's down. Never. Now, there are workaround ways to do this in TSP. I'm not going to go over it here because that's kind of a long conversation. I want to keep this video short, but there are ways within TSP to do it. It's just kind of a pain, okay? But you can do it, okay? So go check out those videos if you want to learn more. But long story short, if you're able to do this correctly, where when the market's down, when your long-term investments are struggling, you just don't pull for them. You don't sell them. That means you're never forced to lose money. You just wait till the market recovers, and you just want to make sure you've got plenty of money in the G fund to ride out any of the crazy waves that happen over in the C fund. So that's the idea, is don't sell whether you're working or retired. And if you are retired and you want to take withdrawal still, the way you don't sell is by having enough in some safe investments that you can pull from to ride you through the crazy markets, okay? Now, one other thing when it comes to riding through crazy times is there's not just things to avoid, like avoid not selling. There's actually a few strategies that work exceptionally well during down markets. When times are crazy, there's some things that work incredibly well. And so we want to take advantage of the opportunities as well as, of course, avoid things like selling. And let me explain to you what I'm talking about. While you're working, I honestly wouldn't do what I'm about to show you, but in retirement, it can make more sense. Now, some people while working, this could make sense, but for most, it doesn't, okay? It doesn't. And this is what they call Roth Conversions. Now, I've talked about this many times on the channel, but let me just explain what it is. In retirement, you have the opportunity to move money from pre-tax accounts like traditional TSP, traditional IRA, etc., over to Roth accounts, Roth TSP, Roth IRA, etc., okay? And when you make that move, yes, you have to pay taxes, but once the money's in the Roth, it can grow tax-free for the rest of your life. And Roth accounts are not subject to RMDs. If you're not familiar with those, it's when the government requires money to come out of traditional accounts and you have to pay tax on it. That starts in your 70s, okay? So Roth accounts can grow tax-free. They avoid RMDs. It can be super helpful. Now, we don't want to move too much out every year because you want to watch your tax bracket. I've got whole videos on Roth conversions, so check those out. But long story short, when the market is down, let's say, again, this is the market, it's up and down. Let's say the market is down here, and that is when we do a Roth conversion. That's when we move money from the traditional and move it over to a Roth. Well, that's actually a fantastic time to move it over to Roth, and this is why. Number one, the investments you have are worth less, which means when you move it over to Roth, you don't have to move as much over, and you pay less taxes. So let's say up here is worth $10,000, down here it's worth $8,000. So if you take the $8,000 out, move it over to Roth, you pay less taxes because you only took out $8,000 as opposed to $10,000, which is fantastic, right? And as the money recovers, as the market recovers, it's recovering in a Roth IRA, which again grows tax-free, which is fantastic. So the growth, the recovery happens tax-free, which is great, okay? So again, here's my summary. Do not sell. Have an investment plan for retirement and stick to it. Do not sell. That's one of the worst things you can do in crazy times. Even if you're retired, there's ways to not sell, even if you want to still take your withdrawals. And Roth conversions can actually be a great strategy to use when there's crazy times. So I hope that is helpful. If you want help doing this sort of thing in retirement, we help clients all the time. Check out the description. There's tons of stuff about how we help. So check that out. But I hope that is helpful. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time.